Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs Postgame Show presented by Pointsbet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. Luke Stuckmeyer and Cody Del Mendo after the Cubs lose their 7th straight game, Cody.
It's not great, Luke.
14 games under 500 now.
14.
More good news for you. And a 4-1 loss to the Padres.
Spin Zone won a parlay tonight. Spin Zone bet the Padres money line. Spin Zone bet Yu Darvish to win tonight. Spin Zone.
It started an hour and a half late. Spin Zone. We had sewage coming up in the building. Spin.
We stinks.
Yeah.
We stinks.
Almost literally if we got any closer to that sewage drain.
This is listen, I know we're sitting here making jokes and we're trying to make everything, fun and, you know what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
I'm trying to
Gotta have
liven it up here, right? But let's be real. This Cubs team, they just do not give you even 2 of the 3 facets of the game that you need to win every night. Tonight, they actually got the starting pitching. Justin Steele. I think I won who you got. I'm just going to put it out there.
You did. Yep.
Bullpen, outside of Rowan Wick, okay, but at the end of the day, offense didn't show up tonight. You get a solo shot from Gomes, and that's it? And I know it's Yu Darvish revenge game, but I don't know. It's like I asked for a competitive game where at least we don't get blown out like 18-4. And we got that. I mean, I guess for this team, I just can't ask for too much, right? Should this team be better? Yes, it should.
Yeah.
But injuries have piled up. We've talked about it over and over and over. I'm not going to make the chat have to sit here and listen to me throw out all these reasons and excuses. They're not even excuses anymore. It's just they're just not good at baseball. That at the end of the day, they're just not good. And again, that's fine. We didn't have high expectations for this team this year. The takeaway you can have for tonight's game is that Justin Steele was good and good for a second consecutive start. A lot of people have been calling for them to take him out of the starting rotation. You could say that about a month ago. And he has seemingly been able to give the Cubs 7 strong innings in consecutive starts. And that's a good Padres lineup.
Agreed.
Right?
Agreed. They don't have Tatis, but, I will say, first of all, tip of the cap to David Snyder, who called Cubs will get the lead, and then we'll know they're going to lose.
Yeah.
They will score first, and we know they're going to lose.
What was your favorite part of the 1-0 lead?
Justin Steele, 7 innings, 1 earned run, 5 hits, 3 strikeouts, no walks, 77 pitches, 60 for strikes. What I love is his aggressiveness. Since the tip from John Lester through David Ross, he decided fastball command down and into righties, right? He pounded that his last start was his longest career start. Fastball down and in, down and in. And then tonight, he was missing those down and ins, darting in. And as Brendan Miller, our pitch doctor, was pointing out, a lot of it was in the middle early on.
Yeah.
So it looked like, I don't know how long he's going to hang on to this, but he corrected it.
Yeah.
And he got it back. And that's back-to-back quality starts. He's added more pitches to his repertoire. I like what I see, just like I liked early in the season what I was seeing from Keegan Thompson. So, there's some progress there. I like, by the way, he did all of this after taking a line drive to his pitching hand.
Yeah, in the very first inning?
I still hope that they don't go back after the game and show an X-ray, take an X-ray and say, because he seems like a really tough guy. Mm-hmm. The bottom of your hand, a fastball, I guess there's some padding there at the bottom, but
yeah. I mean, it wasn't like a full-on line drive. It was a bouncing, it was a hard grounder.
Enough that it could do some damage to your hand.
For sure. Yeah. I'm just saying that if it was a straight line drive, yeah, he probably would have came out of the game, honestly.
But it looked like they were thinking about it anyway.
They were. And I won't lie to you, when that was happening, I, kind of sunk into the couch thinking, this is going to be a long night, Stuckey.
Yeah.
Turned out it really wasn't that long.
The game went a little bit quicker, yeah. Jack says Steele has dog in him.
Dog, yeah.
Who was that college football coach who was like, we need more dogs? You know who I'm talking about? There's a great rant from a college football coach. We need more dogs.
I don't know. Joey, you're a college. Okay.
Oh, you'll find it. It's unbelievable. It's maybe like 5 years ago.
Bennett Presser, act more like dogs.
Yeah.
This day in sport. Okay, hold on. I'm
He's mad at all the players
Coastal
that wear
Carolina
wristbands and
Coastal Carolina football.
That's 100% it. Yeah.
The Chanticleers.
It's a great rant.
Anyway.
Yeah, so I liked what I was seeing out of Steele. That's encouraging, and that's extra encouraging because he might be the only starting pitcher left by the end of the season. That's the way it's going.
Yeah, with injuries and
it's been terrible.
Whether it's injuries or guys who are going to be moved. I mean, yeah, it's terrible. I just feel bad. The guy deserved to win tonight, man.
Oh, 100% he did.
That's.
Yeah.
Listen, I
would have left him in for another inning, to be honest with you, just to see what would happen.
Yeah.
He already had a good start.
Right. Listen, I know that wins and losses don't mean anything at the end of the day, but when you actually get a good outing like this,
you like to be rewarded for it.
Yeah. And then when we look back at the guy's numbers at the end of the year, you're like, oh, you know how many times you look at people's numbers and they have good ERA and whatever, and then their win-loss record is trash, and then people are like, what does that mean? And it's like, well, this is what it means. If he had been doing this all season, obviously he's been inconsistent, but again, it's just one of those things where he put the team in position to win and just wasn't rewarded. I don't know what was up with Rowan Wick tonight. I haven't complained about Rowan Wick at all really this year.
Nah, and I don't really complain about the bullpen too much, really.
Yeah. At the end of the day, the Cubs just didn't score any runs. You score one solo homer. I don't get it. So I know this lineup it's top three or four guys maybe. Schwindel or Wisdom on a given day, who knows? But it's Ian Happ, Chris Morel, and Wilson Contreras that you're like, all right, I'll go to war for those guys.
Yeah.
And you got Jonathan VR and Jason Hayward at the bottom of your lineup.
And by the way, one of those three might be on the team at the end of the season.
Yeah.
Because it's possible Happ is gone with Contreras. And after watching this game, it's possible that they would – I'm not ruling out that Jan Gomes is gone. Yeah. And I'm not going to be angry at him if that's the way they go. Obviously it's going to make him a worse team this season, but he's going to be mid-30s by the time this team is good. Yeah. He's already in his 30s. So, there's probably some trade value there. There's any team looking for a backup catcher, Jan Gomes is certainly that. A playoff team that needs somebody to ensure that they're going to have a quality catcher.
Mm-hmm.
I could see a team giving up something. Not a haul for him, but I could see a prospect going for Jan Gomes.
Steven asks, do you blame Greg Brown at all? That's the hitting coach. The guys who are that have proven that they've been good outside of Chris Morel, so Wilson Contreras and Ian Happ. Contreras, 899 OPS. Happ, 838 OPS. Nico Horner, he's been slumping a little bit. He's got 689 or 698 OPS, batting 277, whatever. But we know what Jason Hayward is. Jonathan VR, I've literally said he should be DFA'd. Wisdom, I keep going back and forth with Wisdom because you look at the numbers and the batting average sucks, but he's got a 750 OPS. It's very solid for any major league player. I don't know. At
least he hits home runs.
Yeah,
and he does play. occasionally plays really nice defense.
Yeah.
Not always. It's not super consistent, but I would say he's a good third baseman.
Yeah.
Wisdom. Made a nice catch on a
he had-
line drive.
tonight,
I know,
yeah.
and you were saying there's sometimes you're like, I thought he would get to that, but
Yeah, because then he got an
he's-
error later in the game.
yeah, I'd still say he's above average at third base.
Yeah, I agree. I just like, Stephen also said, I expect Greg Brown to be a scapegoat after the season. They treat hitting coaches like crap. And I mean, Iapoce was around for a few years. Perhaps back after the 2018 season with, what was his name? Chili Davis.
Chili Davis. They've blamed it. Let's just agree. They've blamed the hitting coach way too many times.
That's true.
That's a fall guy on a lot of teams.
Yeah.
First of all, half the players aren't going to listen to the hitting coach.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
I feel like
It's
the
one of the more
offense has been
overrated
a little bit
positions.
better. I mean, they're still struggling with situational hitting, which has plagued them literally since they won the World Series, and they can't hit with ducks in the pond. But, like, we saw that stat the other day. They're number one in first inning runs scored. Like, and it's a team where there's not a ton of offensive talent on paper, like Cody said. So I just don't know how much you can really expect from this group.
Exactly. And that's kind of the point that I'm making. I'm being the moron who said, 87 wins, folks.
I wasn't going to bring it up.
It is what it is. I expected more from certain guys, man, and we just haven't got it. And that's my fault for having any sort of hope.
We'll dig into that in a second segment a little bit. I do want to give a shout out to Shane Newbanks, the head of the Stuckies Club.
The Stuckies Club?
Yeah.
Is that what we're calling it?
No, we haven't decided yet. We're still trying to come up with a name for
For the chat?
our loyal
The farm system?
chatters.
The
Farm system, the farm. I still say the prospects.
Ooh,
It's a possibility.
prospect.
So, yeah, I think Jan Gomes' trade value went up. He had a home run.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking after he hit it. We were talking. Gomes has been a nice player for the Cubs this year as a backup catcher. 689 OPS, but I mean, as someone who really he doesn't play every day. He's not in the lineup every day. It's hard to really take a lot of the numbers into consideration. But I mean, he's batting 256. In 82 at bats, he has 21 hits. Whatever. His on base isn't very good, but again, for a backup catcher, you look at the numbers and you're like, oh, that's solid. Like you take it.
Well, Cody, what were the let's go through the offseason moves. Suzuki, he's going to be out at least another week with the finger, right? So,
Yeah.
I mean, I still think it's going to be a good signing. But offseason, okay, Frazier, gone. Simmons, VR, ugh. Who else did they add?
Chris Martin, you got to go through
Yeah,
the bullpen.
the
too.
bullpen guys have
Bullpen.
all been good.
Yeah,
Robertson's been good.
Givens,
Martin, Givens. I like the guys they found in the bullpen.
Daniel Norris has not.
Daniel Norris has not been great, but like of the position players, it's pretty much Gomes.
Yeah, Gomes. As far as free agent signings,
Free agents, right? Like I'm just
outside of Suzuki.
Am I missing somebody that I'm?
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like they've missed on, and then throwing Wade Miley.
Yeah, but they picked him up off.
Yeah,
waivers,
right. But I'm just saying, like off-season moves that they made,
right?
Trying to catch lightning in a bottle. I guess you've been successful with Robertson for sure.
Yeah, for
Givens
sure.
has been good, and I would say Gomes has been good. Those have been their three best.
In Suzuki, it's still out.
Sure,
Like,
yeah, it's way too early.
to say that
Way
it's been
too
a
early.
good or bad decision, but there have been moments. Yeah. I think when you talk about Jan Gomes' trade value, I think he would be. I think you get some solid value back if you included him in an arm.
Yeah.
Or something
Oh yeah,
like
it'd
that.
probably be a double deal.
You know what I mean? Like
Maybe it's Gomes and Givens go somewhere.
or
Gomes.
like I don't know who he normally caught with like
Well, Hendricks loves him.
right. But they're
Hendricks
not-
has raved about him.
right. But the thing is like I just don't. If they trade him, then I just don't see any value in the Cubs getting anything back for him. You know?
Right.
He's been very inconsistent. He's got an F4 under he's got a negative or minus F4 right now. Like I just don't see how anyone's
You're
going to
talking
want
about
that.
Hendricks.
Yeah, I'm talking about Hendricks.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think trading Hendricks makes any sense anymore because you'd be trading low stock.
Right. Unless Hendricks starts tomorrow and starts a trend of being really good for the next month and a half, then maybe they will do it, but I don't see it.
Right now, currently his stock is low.
Yes.
But as far as trading Gomes, that would still make sense
Right.
because he's late in his career. He's a veteran catcher. The only reason you wouldn't trade him is because you would only have Higgins left to catch the rest of the games.
Yeah.
But get somebody up.
Right. What I was getting at is like pairing him with like Drew Smyly. If he's able to come back and give the Cubs,
God, you
4
forget
starts.
Smiley's gone too.
Right. If he's able to come back and give you 4 starts to boost that value, because before he got hurt, Smiley had actually been a very nice surprise. I did
Agreed.
not expect him to be that great, and he hasn't really been great, but he's been serviceable. And you know what he's done? What a lot of guys haven't done? Eat innings. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, they need him to come back. Miley, like if he's able to come back and give the Cubs 4 or 5 starts, that's asking a lot.
Unlikely.
It seems unlikely, but if he's able to do something like that, you can pair one of them with Gomes and maybe get something. But do I think the Cubs are going to move Gomes? No, because they're going to move Contreras and they're going to need guys to catch. And P.J. Higgins is not going to start every day.
No.
I don't think he will, at least. And it just wouldn't be smart for the Cubs as far as injuries anyway if they just had one catcher. I mean, I don't know any other catchers they got in the organization outside of Higgins and Gomes and Contreras.
Coy Hill's probably available out there somewhere.
They go pick up. Is Robinson Chirinos on the waiver wire again?
I see Brendan Miller has joined the chat. Our buddy Brendan is on. He says, I too am injured. My soul is injured.
Welcome to the club.
Well, Lee Steele was good, pitch doctor.
Yeah, at least Steele was good. That's the only, I will say this. The series against the Yankees, those last 2, there was nothing good that came out of those 2 games. But tonight,
I still can't believe they've never won against the Yankees in New York, ever.
At least Steele gave us some hope, man. I think if he continues to pitch like this these last 2 outings, maybe you start to think, okay, this guy can be a starter in the major leagues. I don't know.
Cody is ready to be hurt again.
No, I'm ready to go to sleep and not be hurt until tomorrow night.
Jack keeps saying Man of Steel. A lot of nickname potential on this Cubs team. Morale, there's a lot of good morale, the morale blend, Man of Steel, a lot of potential. I mean, maybe not on, in between the foul lines, but nickname wise, we're cooking with something here.
Horner could do something with that.
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Around the Horner.
I was gonna say, are you Katie Nolan? Remember her joke? On the Apple TV broadcast, I think it was.
I was listening to Brendan Corey on the way into work today.
They made me more mad.
Yeah, they me too. It flashed back to Friday and all of our talks before the series, and I was like, part of the problem is it goes back to one of the first things we talked about on this podcast, and it was the guarantee that this team will be competitive this season.
Yep.
They're 14 games under 500 in June.
Yeah.
Okay, I know
wins.
that strategically competitive was the right word for them to use. Because competitive can mean hey, we're in games. They were in a game tonight. But there is no way to sugarcoat 14 games under 500 in a bad division where 2 other teams are trying to lose. 14 games under 500 is in no way, shape, form, size, anything. You cannot describe it as competitive.
Yeah.
7 straight losses is not competitive.
At this rate, the Reds are going to pass up the Cubs.
We laughed at the preseason predictions when we said, listen, there's no way this team is going to finish below the Pirates or the Reds.
Right.
0 chance. The reason I think it might happen now with the Reds don't have anything else to trade away and give away.
Right.
The Cubs still have their best player to give away. Contreras is gone.
Yeah.
You take away your catcher, like one of the few guys that hits on the team consistently, and who knows who else is being traded. For sure the closers and the bullpen guys. What's going to be left of the pitching rotation?
Right.
The starting rotation is thin now because of injuries and depth. Imagine what happens if you trade some of that.
Right. I'm looking at the standings right now. The Pirates are ahead of the Cubs. They're 24 and 35. The Cubs are two and a half games back of the Pirates. And then the Reds are 2 games back of the Cubs. The Reds were at one point in the season, like 3 and 23 or something like that.
What is today, June 13th? They're going to finish in last place.
It feels like it.
I think they're headed for last place. I really do. Unless something crazy happens, and I just don't, with the injuries and how thin the roster is and knowing that they're headed toward trading again, I don't see how they're going to stay out of the cellar.
Yeah, no.
Even with some guys having really nice individual seasons, which is the positive. But to say that they were going to be competitive this year, if they finish in last place, I don't know how you can say they're competitive.
Yeah. I think I can't even put the words out. I want to believe in what Jed Hoyer is trying to do. But yeah, him and Tom didn't help themselves when Tom went on Marquee a week after the deadline last year, straight up said it to our faces on a damn camera and said the Chicago Cubs will be in the NL Central Division race next year. And here we are at 23 and 37, and we, like, every night in the chat, everyone's like, we got a bunch of 4A players. And you know what? For the first, month and a half, I try to defend guys like Schwindel and Wisdom, and I still think Wisdom's actually been a very solid player at this point.
None of it's the player's fault.
Yeah, I'm not blaming the players.
None of it is.
What I'm saying here is that on part of what you were saying is that these two guys said that this team was going to be in the division race. And you know what? I took it as this team's going to be 500 and we're probably going to maybe be in line for a wild card. And I know those guys can't control injuries, but they didn't do anything to, add depth in terms of if injuries came.
Fortify so that every team goes through injuries.
Right. Every team. But they what were they expecting? That's the thing. That's the big question for me at this point. What were they expecting? Were they expecting this team to be this bad? And they really did just say, we're going to be competitive and just lie to our faces. I don't know. Because again, I want to believe in Jed because I do think he's made solid moves via the trade in terms of trying to replenish the farm, which was something the Cubs needed to do. At the end of the day, they needed to do it. Did they need to trade all 3 of those guys last July and Darvish and all of them? Did they need to do them all? Probably not. But you know what? When you start unloading, you might as well just unload them all. Just rip the Band-Aid off. And you know what? I got on board and I am trying to, see it through. But yeah, with the way this team is playing right now and how they've played in general, this does not look like a one rebuild year or retool, whatever you want to freaking call it, and look like a team that's going to be in the division race next year.
It is a full rebuild.
But it shouldn't be, Luke. It shouldn't be.
I know, but look at it now. Objectively, it's as big a rebuild as it was before. This rebuild is starting to look as big a rebuild as the one they did in 2012.
They're in the mix to get the number 1 pick in 2023. They're already picking 7th this year. That's a rebuild. They're going to finish as a top 5 worst team in the MLB.
Full rebuild.
It doesn't matter what they call it.
Again, what I'm saying is, yes, that's fine if they're this bad this year now at this point to get the number 1 pick for next year's draft. But this should not be like the last
Correct.
rebuild in terms of 2012, 2013, and 2014. It should not be a 3.5, 4 year like stretch of just pain. It should not. It just absolutely should not. Not when you have the most expensive experience in baseball, and not when you have a fan base like this that is dedicated and loyal. It's just a slap in the face to Cubs fans. It just is. And so, like, what I'm saying at this point, what I've been trying to say is that I'm trying to understand where Jed and whoever else in the front office really thought that this team was going to be something or just at least a 500 team, and then we got this. And it's like, are you guys just inept, or do you just lie to our faces? Either way, I feel pretty shitty because I don't know.
Well, I mean, and the trick is they're going to have a lot of holes to fill going into next season. Like, we've already moved on a little bit mentally to next season. We'll watch the games and enjoy it for certain things, right? Like, you're going to watch for certain things. You'll enjoy wins when they happen. But realistically, I think the whole franchise is looking ahead a little bit. They're going to have a lot of holes to fill. And you look at the Rangers, who spent like $500 million, and they're not that good.
Right.
You know, $500 million on 3 guys. Mm-hmm. 3 guys are not going to fix this Cubs team, especially when you trade away Wilson Contreras.
But that's why this doesn't need to be a 4-year. Like, there is a lot of talent in the farm to the point where it's like,
it's far enough away,
It's far away. It's far away, but you have guys that are going to come fill spots over the next year or two. You've got some guys towards the top of the system that are going to come in. Do I think they're going to be competing for the NL Central next year? No, but I don't think that they're going to be bottomed out again like this. And then that's how I see it going. And another year of decent amount of spending, and then we'll see when we go into 2024.
Jack says, Judge and Correa, welcome to the team.
Yeah. I related to, like, you comparing the Rangers, it's not even like this past offseason that I wanted the Cubs to go and add significant guys that were going to cost that much. I didn't even ask. Like, I liked what they did. They just needed to do 1 or 2 more things, whether it was adding another arm or adding another bat. They literally stopped short because of whatever reason. And yeah, now that we sit here and we see all these injuries and we're seeing how certain guys are playing, I don't know if that changes too much, but coming into the year, if this team is healthy and you did a few more things, at least the fan base can sit here and be like, and probably would just blame injuries more than anything. We're blaming injuries, we're blaming ownership in the front office. Like, it just seems very dark right now for this fan base.
I don't know where this team would be. Let's say it was healthy. Yeah, it happened left. Morel happened to come up, play great in center. If you had gone ahead and signed Correa to the deal that he ended up taking in Minnesota, $35 million this year, with an out, and again, it's not a massive long-term deal, so it's not handcuffing you for the future with a lot of young infielders coming up. If you had Correa, if you'd gone out and spent the money even more, again, it's not my cash, but if you put him at short, and then you had added Rodon to the rotation, would have been a lot. Don't get me wrong, it would have been a lot of moves.
Right.
But the team would be sitting in a way better spot than they are now.
And even if the team was not good, you at least had some sort of like nucleus or something. Something that you could be like going into the next offseason and thinking, all right, we tried and did this and this didn't work, but we have the farm.
Right.
And those guys are going to come eventually. Let's try and fix these little things here and there. But right now it's like, shit, we're about to move the best offensive catcher in the game. We're about to probably move our left fielder, and we're just at the bottom. And to me, again, they shouldn't be. They should not be doing that and just unloading everything.
I think Ryan is almost ready from the ballpark, if I'm not mistaken. Let's do a quick PointsBet update from you. And the good news, again, was that you made a lot of money.
Yeah.
Not enough for the IRS to be concerned with it, but there was a successful night for somebody.
Yeah. The good news is that the Payne parlay is 1-0 in its last one. We'll go for 2-0 tomorrow. Tune into CHGO Bets daily for the Payne parlay. Anyway, the Payne parlay was made on PointsBet. It's my favorite app, Luke.
I know it is. Yeah.
I
Me
love
too.
to tell
One of
you.
them.
Yeah. And it's the best way to also support CHGO. So if you download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up, if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. You'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. If you have any questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you. Remember that PointsBet is your home for live in-game betting. They even have a new exclusive feature, Live NBA Same-Game Parlay. For the first time ever, build the perfect live same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. You can even boost your live same-game parlays. And if you've been under a rock or just, offline, you might not know.
We might not have power tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I know power's out. But you might not know that online sign-up is available in Illinois. It has been since March. It's a beautiful thing. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. Luke does it I can't
If I
talk.
can do it, you can do it.
If Luke can do it, all
If
of
Rocky
you
can do it, Drago can do it.
Exactly. Signing up with the fastest sportsbook is now easier than ever, so you can start living your bet life in seconds. Use code CHGO to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. So what are you waiting for once the game starts? Don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700. Hello, Mr. Herrera.
Oh, wait.
Oh, is he not here yet?
Is he ready?
Or do we have?
He is ready, but Luke's got to tell us about.
Before we bring Ryan on, I don't want to tell him about this because he's fit enough already. But for the rest of us, we're all working towards a goal here. Ryan's in the gym. I mean, we're on these Twitter things, and we hear the plates going in the background.
Oh, yeah.
He's constantly throwing the plates around. So I throw a different type of plate around. Into the dishwasher, into my mouth. Into the dishwasher, into my mouth. But I do like Owen, and so that's what I want to tell you about. OWYN, only what you need. Owen is a 100% plant-based protein shake that gives you nutrition that works as hard as you do. All of their products are free of artificial ingredients, allergen-friendly, no gluten, no dairy, easily digestible. First heard about it when I heard that QB1, Justin Fields, was following a plant-based diet and trying this stuff. And Owen and CHGO have partnered up to give you an awesome offer. 20% off your first purchase at LiveOwen, that's LiveOWyn.com, with the code CHGO20. Join me, Justin Fields. Try Owen, only what you need. Let's bring in Ryan Herrera now because I think some of his gains have been due to trying Owen.
I mean,
he hits the protein. Here's what he does. On a leg day, Ryan is always going, boom, right to the protein shake afterwards. Feed the beast, right, Ryan? Feed the beast.
Got to go within 2 hours. Hold on, Ryan. We're struggling here. Hold on.
Hold on a second.
Is it because the TV isn't turned up?
We got something going on.
We're having technical difficulties.
It could be from the storms. We don't hear yet.
It was not from the TV. Oh. What is he
Ryan's
doing?
giving us a third base sign. He just told us to steal third. Yes, hit and run is on. Ryan has just signaled us the hit and run is on from Wrigley Field.
Oh, my God.
All right, Ryan, we'll try and make this work. We'll bring you back in a minute.
Okay, he's going away. Well, anyways, I know that Ryan has seen great gains from that. So let's go back to the misery of talking about Joe Sheehan, who pointed out on Twitter saying that a year ago today, you ready for this in the chat?
No.
A year ago today, the Cubs were in first place. Since that point, a year ago today, one One calendar year has gone by, and in that time, the Cubs are 56-101, which leads me to my prediction now that I have adjusted mentally in my head. I believe we are headed for a 100-loss season.
We are.
I think that's where they're headed, and that's not to be negative. That's not
It's just
to be
the fact.
If I were wagering on PointsBet right now, all over with my money, how many losses? I think you're going to see 3 digits.
Yeah. Well, the way that they're playing for sure right now definitely leads
They're
you
on
to
pace
believe
for
in
it,
them.
and they haven't traded away Contreras yet,
Yeah.
or Robertson, or Givens.
Right. The only thing that might keep me from believing that actually happening is if, maybe, just maybe, if Jed and whoever would call up Velasquez and Maldonado and a few of these young guys in Iowa who are,
Give you another morale spark.
who've been mashing. And you know what? I guarantee you, even if they don't mash, we will definitely probably at least be a better offensive lineup than when you have Jonathan VR and Jason Hayward in it. Boom, roasted.
Somebody, I don't remember who I saw in the chat today, but they were not. VR is losing a lot of fans. I think they're still playing him to try and find somebody for a trade partner. I don't know if that means
That has to be it.
Does that mean another team has asked about him? They're like, oh, well, we better play him, because otherwise it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
He did steal a base, and I said trade value up.
Yeah, it's like when Gomes hit the home run tonight. Trade value.
Tweet it out.
Hey, Ryan, you're muted, by the way. I'm trying to message you on Slack. I figured I'd just, hop on here and tell you. But check your Slack. Sorry, guys.
That explains a lot.
The storm has muted Ryan.
Just having some technical difficulties over here, It's been a long day. I
know
actually
what I
have
think's
something
happening?
small to bring up. Yeah.
He's pulling the Wayne's World right now. It's like when he goes to order fries and he goes through the drive-thru.
Yeah,
Have
he's
you
like
seen the
faking
movie?
it. He's faking
Wayne's
it. I'm
World?
going to take him off
It's
until
great.
we can figure it out.
I think he's doing it on purpose because he wants to get home, because he knows how late this thing
Wouldn't
is
surprise
going.
me.
Perhaps.
I am wondering, though, what's up with the Padres jerseys?
Oh, they were ugly.
Who told
said that
them this was a good idea to make their primary colors brown and yellow?
Yeah, those are Valpo colors. Not proud of that.
Sorry.
Very difficult colors to go with, the poop and pee.
Yeah. Didn't they used to have these brown unis back in the day?
Well, see, some of their uniforms are cool. I actually like some of the Padre uniforms. The uniform they wore tonight, which is just basically a dark brown shirt that says Padres with a boring font, terrible.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible. Some of their home uniforms aren't bad.
Mike Dubs compares them to UPS drivers.
Yeah, they're not good. It's not a good look. It's not. So we got that going for us. But they're, they entered the night a half game out of first place. So,
well, related to Joe Sheehan's freaking tweet, I know I kind of already ranted, but like someone should take that tweet and show it to Tom Ricketts. I don't know.
Well, again, no sugarcoating. 56-101 in the last calendar year is not competitive.
Right.
Not competitive.
Someone needs to show it to the Cubs. I feel like they probably will see it. This guy has 43,000 followers on Twitter. I have a feeling someone will see that in the Cubs organization. But even still, though, I don't know. They have to. I hope the next 150 plus games or whatever are at least a little bit more respectable than that, because that, for a big market team like the Chicago Cubs, is shameful. It really is shameful.
It's getting harder and harder to watch on a nightly basis.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to the point now where I don't get up and prance around and
yeah, you don't even throw your hat at the TV anymore.
Yeah, I stopped throwing my hat at the TV. It's
complacency is way worse than anger.
Yeah.
If you own a baseball franchise, if you have a complacent fan base, that's even worse than a fan base that is angry.
Yeah.
You don't want them to go there.
I mean, parts of me is angry for sure, but I'm also just at the point where what do wins and losses mean anymore? At this point, maybe win a few and I'll get back into that mode, and not only be because I don't want to see the Cubs lose 100 games. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like I get it. Number 1 pick in the draft, whatever. At the end of the day, I do not want to see this team lose 100 games. They shouldn't. They just should not be a team that should be losing 100 games. They just should not be. And again, I'm not going to go down the path again.
The last team was 2012, lost 101. And that was the low point of the rebuild for the Cubs. The lowest of the low.
Yep.
Is it possible that this team will sink lower than the first? When they said this isn't going to be a full rebuild, we never imagined that they could sink lower than they did in the first rebuild. Is it possible that this team could sink lower record-wise than the first rebuild did? I think it's possible. I didn't think it was possible, but I also think they could be headed for a 13-game losing streak. You get 3 more with the Padres and the Braves coming into town.
It depends on like what you mean by it. Like, do you think it's going to take more than 3.5 years to rebuild the franchise and be?
I'm talking strictly
good?
record. Will they lose? Is it possible that they would lose more than 101 games this season?
Oh, at this point, it does kind of look like it.
I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
Which is, I shouldn't say shocking, but it's something.
Yeah.
It's something. I don't know. It's painful. That's what it is. You know what? Real quick, before we are we going to try and get Ryan in again in a second?
No.
I think we're just gonna
Lightning got him.
Ryan
Lightning
get home safe tonight. Beat the weather, traffic.
Yep.
He's in the chat.
He's in the chat now.
Yeah, he asked if I DM'd Steele before start today. I did not. I have not DM'd him in a while because he's on a good roll. So
He's on a roll. Letting him ride.
I'm letting him ride.
Hey, if you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us continue to grow is to download the Pointsbet app. Use the code CHGO when you sign up. Not only you get those 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you get that free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of Ryan's web content. And you even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. Questions, email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. And in case you missed it, online sign-up going in Illinois. Signing up faster than ever. Register your account, start to finish, all from your phone. It's the fastest sports book. You can start living your bet life in seconds. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700 or text Cody.
So real quick,
That went right
Cubs-
over his head.
Or text me.
Cubs winning percentage right now on June 14th, 383.383.
Uh-huh.
That would put them on pace for a 62 win and 100 loss season on the dot.
That's exactly what I said. I feel like they are, and that it's on
We
pace.
are
but
right
again,
on pace. And they had a better start to the season than I think some of us expected them
and
to.
they haven't traded away their best player yet.
Not great, Bob.
And their closer, and their setup guy, and some other pieces. Like, do I think it's possible that they're headed that way? Boy.
I mean, I've sat here for 2 months or however long this season's at. Well, we're at 2.5 months almost. And I have listed reasons why they shouldn't trade Hap. You got 1 more year. And if you did want to extend him and let him be part of the next core, you're not going to have to pay him nearly as much as you would have for Contreras or any of the last 3 guys. But on the other hand, he's got almost a 900 OPS. He's having the best season of his career, and he's never been consistent in his career. So you might as well trade him and get top value for him now while you can, because you don't know if he will do that for multiple years. I don't know. That's where I sit.
Joe, on the comment, I agree with you. He says, if Miley and Smiley didn't have these injuries, they would not be this bad. There's a lot of bad luck in this record. Yes, but there was no backup plan.
Exactly.
There's no backup plan. You had 2 veteran pitchers coming off. Well, one didn't even pitch in spring training, so you knew there was something going on. And the other guy was coming off injuries in his past too. So, and you knew this was going to be a season. Every team knew that this was going to be a season where players were going to get injured more. There was no off-season program with the team. You had a shortened spring training going on. It was known this is going to be tough on injuries this season. And because this roster is so thin, they can't handle any of the injuries. Most teams can afford to lose a Wade Miley or a Smiley or we're not talking about losing Jacob deGrom.
Right.
Talking about losing Wade Miley. That shouldn't derail your season.
Yeah.
I agree. The record would be better, I believe, if those two guys were pitching. But there's a ton of buts.
Yeah. That's the thing. There is a
If this happened.
Yes.
And that is one thing that we did say at the beginning of the season. This team does have a window at the top where you could see them at least competing for a playoff spot. But they were going to have to hit on all of those ifs. Mm-hmm. And some of the ifs are hitting, but the injuries and the other things are just sucking the energy right out of the team.
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't expect Morel to come up and try and give him this kind of lift.
No.
You didn't expect necessarily Wilson Contreras' best season in his career. You're getting it. You didn't expect Keegan Thompson early on like this. Steele's doing this. There are positives to watch, but the rest of it is so negative sometimes that it just saps the energy out of the fan base.
Yeah.
And of the team, I think.
No, I agree. And it goes back to just like I said how they just didn't spend enough in the offseason. They spent, but they didn't spend enough. They didn't have any backup plans. And, going in, I was thinking, maybe they didn't spend here or they didn't get another pitcher because they thought maybe Caleb Killian would be available earlier or be ready to go earlier. We didn't see him until, end of May, beginning of June, somewhere in that range.
Maybe they thought Brendan Davis was coming up too.
That too.
I don't know. But again, his back was bothering. We now know his back was bothering him in spring training, and then he went to Iowa. So,
right.
There were some red flags if you had that inside information.
Right. But we are where we are, and there's a lot of reasons why, and it just sucks because, again, I understand what you're saying, how this rebuild could be worse than 2012 in terms of record-wise, but nonetheless, the Chicago Cubs should not be in this situation, and the only reason they are is just like what Joe Sheehan said. They are the reason that they're in this position. They did it to themselves. They didn't do enough in the offseason. They couldn't find a way to keep one of the core pieces around. Now we're going to trade the best offensive catcher in baseball in a month and a half, maybe the left fielder, and then we're going to have Seiya Suzuki and a bunch of young guys who I will, try and get up for, and some other dudes who are just trying to make a way in the majors, and it just none of it makes sense. That's the thing that sucks the most, because in 2012, the one thing that you can say about 2012 is that you knew what you're going to get that year, and you can say the same thing about 2013. You can say the same thing about 2014, and we just don't know, and that's what sucks about this entire situation the Cubs are in right now. We can sit here and I can go on another tangent about Ricketts and Jed Hoyer, but I will save us all the energy.
Yeah, it's getting late. Real quickly, Kyle Hendricks going to pitch his first game since June 1st. We're not even sure what was going on with Kyle. We were just kind of told he was working on some things, but he's going to pitch for the first time in almost exactly 2 weeks. What are your expectations for Game 2 of this series with Hendricks going? I just want to see him pitch 5 innings and look good for 5 innings. I don't need it. I don't need his best game of the season against the Padres. I just want to know that he's healthy at this point.
Yeah. Definitely want to see the health. He pitched well against the Padres out in San Diego. Mm-hmm. That was probably one of the highlights of the year.
Yeah.
For this Cubs team, at least. So yeah, I'm hoping that he can, do exactly what Justin Steele did tonight. Maybe not innings wise, but just like be good enough to give the team a chance. And yeah, it'd be nice to see him, just give us a classic Kyle Hendricks start where he's got that change up and fastball command going.
And let's start the game on time.
Start the game on time and get the game done in under 3 hours. Wouldn't that be something, Stephie?
That would be nice. And by the way, the on-base streak for Morel is up to 1. Technically not a streak until it's 2, so we'll try for that starting on Tuesday. What does Joey say? Could not agree more, Joe. This team would be no better with Rizzo.
So Joe
says
I'm not disagreeing with that.
He said keeping anyone from the core would not have made this a better team. The issues go back to 2018-19, how drained the farm was, and all the expiring contracts
100%.
come up at once. It's true. There's this tweet about how Chris Bryant's barely paid. Javi Baez has a 55 WRC plus. Like, it's not a better team, but I agree. Like, there's still reasons as a fan where it doesn't matter. Like, they could have done more to not be trotting out a AAA roster every day.
Exactly.
Yes,
That's the point.
We understand the snowball started rolling downhill when players didn't develop at the pace we thought they were, and when young pitchers were never developed until recently, very recently. Like, players were not developing back at the farm system after all those guys were called up.
Right.
Draft picks didn't hit.
And I think Joe sent that message because I said, because the Cubs couldn't keep one of the core
he's
guys
right.
around. And like, again, hey, you would ask me in 2018, even 2019, I've been like, yeah, you got to find a way to keep at least 2 of the 3 guys, or 2 of the 4 guys if you want to count Kyle Schwarber at the time. But we, going into last year, I thought they should have at least kept 1, and things would be different this year in terms of at least having someone to build around or something.
I don't.
They just don't have that. Right
I've
now.
said it 100 times. I don't disagree with the plan of restocking the farm system because eventually you will get to a better place. Right now, you are in a rut that is ugly because there wasn't a happy medium that met them halfway.
Yeah,
That's what's going on.
There's obviously a lot of reasons why that didn't happen, and again, they've lost 7 in a row, so I'm just spiraling.
We all sat on the couch on Friday and agreed that was the right move to trade those 3 guys. But at the same time, it doesn't make it any easier to sit through 100 losses, if that's what we're on pace for right now.
Correct.
So it sucks either way. But not that wasn't the right move. I mean, they could have re-signed those guys too. We talked about it. We can go on and on about this. The team sucks right now, and that sucks.
The right move would have been breaking it up a year earlier.
Yeah.
Or 2 years earlier.
Yeah.
Which would have been tough to take too, but in the long term, it would have helped the team probably.
Probably.
Thanks for dropping in to check out the CHGO Cubs postgame show. Cubs lose 4-1. We'll try to stop the losing streak at 7 in a row on Tuesday. We'll be back here for the postgame show. We hope you will too.